Here's a moment you might recognize. You're standing in a grocery store. You've got maybe 6 things in your cart, and you're doing the math, not because you're being careful, because you're terrified. You're calculating whether you can afford a block of cheese without overdrafting your account. And the worst part isn't the math. The worst part is that you've been here before, last month, the month before that, and every time you promise yourself it's going to be different, something happens. A bill you forgot, a shift that got cut, a week where the gig work just dried up, and you're back here, cart, math, shame. That's not a money problem. That's a psychological trap, and nobody is talking about the actual way out. I'm about to show you a method so simple it's going to make you suspicious. But stay with me, because the simplicity is the whole point. This isn't about math. It's about rewiring the way your brain relates to money entirely. And once that wiring changes, everything downstream changes with it. Let's name the real enemy here, because it's not your income, it's not your discipline, it's not even your spending habits. It's a broken feedback loop. Think about a leaking pipe. When a pipe leaks inside your wall, most people grab a mop, clean up the water, feel like they handled it, and move on, until tomorrow when the floor is wet again, and the mop comes back out, and the cycle repeats indefinitely because nobody ever fixed the pipe. That's what's happening with your finances. You clean up the mess, you cut back, you hustle harder, you tell yourself this month will be different, but the underlying mechanism is still broken. The loop between earning money and actually keeping any of it is leaking somewhere, and standard advice keeps handing you a mop. Here's what the data looks like in 2026. Nearly half of Gen Z is living paycheck to paycheck. Credit card debt among young adults climbed 40% in a single year, and 41% of people under 35 cannot cover a $2,000 emergency. Not won't, can't. And here's the part that should stop you cold. 72% of those same people actively tried to improve their financial situation last year. They're not lazy, they're not careless, they're trying. They're just using tools that were designed for a financial reality that no longer exists. The world changed, the advice didn't. So, let's talk about why everything you've already tried hasn't worked, because this matters. Take the classic framework. Spend 50% on needs, 30% on wants, 20% on savings. Clean, elegant, completely useless if you're broke. When you're running on fumes, there is no 30% for wants. There's 97% for survival and 3% for please don't let my transmission go out this week. That framework was built for someone with stable, predictable income and a financial cushion already in place. Handing it to someone living on variable gig income is like giving a marathon training schedule to someone who just got out of a cast. The advice isn't wrong, it's just not the first step, not even close. Or how about the emergency fund advice? 3 to 6 months of expenses, locked away, ready to go. Correct in principle, completely unreachable as a starting point. If you're a line cook picking up DoorDash shifts on your days off, or a nursing student working part-time retail, or a rideshare driver whose car needs new brakes right now, 3 months of expenses is not a goal, it's a punchline. And then there's the automation trap. Everyone says automate your savings. Set it, forget it, future you says thank you. So you do it. You set up a $200 automatic transfer. You feel responsible for approximately 4 days. Then your phone bill hits early. Then a subscription you forgot about pulls. Then you're manually reversing the transfer you set up to feel good about yourself. And now you feel worse than before you started. Here's the psychology nobody talks about. Every failed savings attempt doesn't just cost you money, it costs you belief. Every time you try the traditional system and it collapses, your brain files that as evidence. Evidence that you're bad with money. Evidence that saving isn't possible for someone like you. And once that belief is in place, it starts running the show quietly in the background, making every future attempt just a little bit harder. So, what actually works? Something that works with your brain instead of against it. It's called the $20 rule. And I need you to resist the urge to dismiss it in the next 30 seconds, because what I'm describing is not a saving strategy. It's a pressure valve. Here's the difference between them. A dam tries to hold everything back at once. It requires massive infrastructure, constant maintenance, and when it fails, and it will fail, it fails catastrophically. A pressure valve does something different. It releases a small, controlled, consistent amount. It doesn't try to stop the flow. It just redirects a little of it, reliably, every single time. The $20 rule is a pressure valve. Every time you receive a payment, a paycheck, a gig payout, a freelance invoice, anything, you transfer $20 into a separate savings account. That's it. That is the entire rule. Not 20%, not a calculated percentage of a variable income. $20. A fixed, flat, non-negotiable $20. You set a personal threshold, the minimum payment that triggers the transfer. If you're on regular biweekly paychecks, every paycheck triggers it. If you're doing freelance design work with feast or famine project cycles, maybe your threshold is any payment over $100. You decide. You make it specific. And then you do it manually every single time. Not automated, manual. More on why that matters in a moment. The account has to be new, zero balance, fresh start. And you name it something that creates meaning, not just savings account. Something like the foundation, the breathing room fund, whatever makes you feel something when you see it, because you're going to need to feel something when you see it. Let me show you exactly what's happening inside your head when this works, because understanding the mechanism makes you better at using it. First, it lives inside your cognitive budget. Your brain is already maxed out. You're managing multiple income streams, or a demanding job, or school, or all three simultaneously. You're tracking bills, relationships, responsibilities, and somewhere in there trying to remember to eat a vegetable. Complex financial calculations don't survive in that environment. They get postponed, and postponed becomes never. But $20, you can hold $20 in your head during the worst week of your life. It doesn't require calculation. It doesn't require a spreadsheet. It just requires a decision you already made, which means it actually happens. Second, it turns progress into something visible. Here's where it gets counterintuitive. The account balance isn't just money, it's a scoreboard. When you start at zero and watch that number climb, $20, $60, $120, $200, your brain responds the same way it responds to leveling up, to hitting a streak, to watching a progress bar fill. It releases a small hit of dopamine. You start to care about protecting the number. You start to wonder what happens if you add $30 instead this week. You're not forcing motivation, you're engineering it. Compare that to an account where money goes in and comes out and goes in and comes out. There's no progress visible. There's just chaos. And chaos doesn't build habits, it breaks them. Third, it carries zero penalty. This is critical for people close to the edge. The money isn't locked in a retirement account. It's not invested in something that can drop 30% overnight. It's sitting in a savings account, accessible, waiting. That accessibility is not a weakness. It's what makes the habit sustainable. Because life happens. A rideshare driver's check engine light comes on, a nursing student's textbook list doubles, a freelancer's client pays late. You pull the money out, you handle it, and then you build it back up. No guilt, no penalty, no failed system, just the habit continuing. Fourth, it rewrites your financial identity. This is the one that changes everything long term. When you're broke, your identity hardens around that reality. You become someone who can't save. That's the story running underneath every financial decision you make. And the brutal truth about identity is that your actions follow it, not the other way around. You don't save because you don't believe you're a person who saves. But when you do the $20 rule consistently for 3 weeks, something shifts. You are now factually a person who has saved money. The story changes, and when the story changes, the decisions change with it. Let me show you what that identity shift looks like in the real world. Imagine someone, a rideshare driver, picking up freelance graphic design on the side. Income all over the place. Some weeks $600, some weeks $1,800. No predictability whatsoever. Tried budgeting apps 3 times. Tried automated transfers. Tried the envelope method.
Nothing stuck because nothing was built for income that looks like a seismograph during an earthquake. They start the $20 rule. Every time a payment clears, rideshare deposit, design invoice, anything, $20 goes to the foundation. Some weeks that's one transfer, some weeks it's three. 4 months later, they have $480 saved. Not life-changing, but their phone dies, and instead of panic, instead of credit card debt, instead of borrowing from someone they'll feel awkward around for 6 months, they handle it, calmly, and they still have money left. That moment isn't about $480, it's about the discovery that they are, in fact, someone who can handle things. And that discovery starts changing how they approach their design clients. They negotiate rates higher because they're not desperate. They turn down a bad client because they have a small buffer. 6 months later, their income has grown, not because of luck, but because financial confidence created space for better decisions. The $20 didn't save them. The habit the $20 built saved them. Here's why this method is specifically engineered for the way most people actually earn money in 2026. 70 million Americans are doing gig work right now, 36% of the entire workforce. And the fundamental problem with gig income is that traditional financial tools treat it like a malfunction. Budget apps assume consistent income. Savings calculators assume you know what next month looks like. The 50-30-20 rule assumes a salary. But gig income isn't a malfunction. It's a different environment, and it needs a different tool. Think of it this way. Trying to save a fixed percentage of variable income is like trying to anchor a boat with a rope tied to another boat. Neither one holds. But $20 is a fixed anchor in a fluctuating tide. Your income goes up and down, but the $20 doesn't. The consistency isn't in the amount you earn, it's in the action you take every time you earn. And here's the data point that should reframe everything. Research on gig workers found that those with even a small emergency reserve, just $500 to $1,000, were 3 times more likely to grow their income over the following year. Not because the money itself did something magical, because having any buffer at all allowed them to make better decisions, take on better clients, invest in better tools, say no to bad opportunities. The buffer creates options. The $20 rule builds the buffer.
Let's get specific, because information without execution is just entertainment. Step 1. Open the account right now. Not after this video, not tomorrow. Right now, while the intention is hot. Most banks let you open a secondary savings account online in under 5 minutes. Pick one. Seriously, don't spend 45 minutes researching the perfect high-yield account. That's sophisticated procrastination. Pick one, open it, move on. Name it something meaningful. The foundation, the breathing room, whatever phrase creates a small emotional response when you read it. Step 2. Define your trigger. What payment threshold activates your $20 transfer? If you're on a regular paycheck cycle, it's every paycheck. If your income is irregular, pick a number. Any payment over $75, over $100, over $150? Write it down. Make it a rule you can state in one sentence. Clarity is what makes habits survive contact with a chaotic week. Step 3. Make your first transfer manually, today, $20 right now before you close this tab. This is important, not because $20 is going to change your financial picture today, but because starting is the hardest part, and you need proof that you can do it. Once it's done once, it's dramatically easier to do again. Step 4. Check the account weekly, not daily. You want to see progress, not obsess over it. Once a week, look at the number. Let yourself feel good about it. That positive association is load-bearing. You need saving to feel like something you're gaining, not something you're losing. What not to do. Don't compare your balance to anyone else's. Don't treat a withdrawal for an actual emergency as a failure. That's the system working. Don't wait until you're earning more to start. That day is not coming.
It never comes. There's always another reason to wait. Start now. Start with what you have. Here's the truth underneath everything I've said today. The $20 rule isn't really about saving $20. It's about making a declaration. Every time you move that $20, you're telling your brain, I am someone who builds things. I am someone who chooses my future over my impulse. I am someone who has a foundation, even if it's only $20 deep right now. That declaration, repeated consistently, becomes identity. And identity becomes behavior, and behavior becomes your financial life.